Welcome to the Social Mission Revolution.
Each week we explore some of the greatest undertold stories of businesses and everyday people who are making their ultimate impact on the world through social mission. This is Social Mission Revolution,
And this is your host, Andrea Putting. Welcome to another episode of Social Mission Revolution. Today, my special guest is Nick Abregu, and I'm excited to be able to talk to Nick about some of the special things that he is doing in the world in regards to his social mission. But first of all, Nick, can you share with us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do in the world?
Absolutely. So lovely to be here, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to be on this amazing journey that you're on. So my name's Nick Abregu. The surname's a little difficult to say. So I do a few things. I've been in the digital marketing space for quite a long time, probably since 2010. We run a company called GorillaCode.co, where it's a digital marketing company and film company. But our biggest accomplishment so far is a charity that we run. And I don't know if you can see in the video, I've got the jumper on there, the
Very
Winter
nice.
Care Package.
Lovely.
So the charity is called the Melbourne Winter Care Package. And just recently we decided to drop the word Melbourne from there because we expanded Victoria-wide.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is essentially we fundraise in a cool way. I know everyone says their way is a cool way, but we really have a cool way of fundraising. And then we create these packs. So we purchase at a massively discounted rate blankets, beanies, gloves, socks, scarves, and a packet of Tim Tams for just to keep someone sane. And we put them all into a bag, which is the package in the name of the charity. And with a group of us, we just go out, and only during winter, which hence the name. And we go out on the streets and we walk up until like 3 in the morning at times, just handing out these packs to the people that are sleeping at rough in Melbourne. And now we do Ballarat, we do Geelong areas, we do anywhere really that we're needed. We get people out there handing out these packs. So that's the Melbourne Winter Care Package.
It's awesome. It's an awesome,
Thank you.
awesome mission to be on, to help people to find a bit of warmth, not only in physical warmth, but that human warmth that we all long for, that we all need.
Right. And something that we over the years, so we started this in 2000, and so the winter of 2015 is when we started.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've learned over the years is that more importantly than the stuff that's in the bag, right? Because sometimes it does potentially save a life, even to get you off the ground on the nights that it's 1 degree. Something to insulate you off the ground can potentially save your life if you're sick or if you're elderly or or whatever. But the more important thing that we do is that we have a genuine conversation with these people, and we found that potentially could also be saving a life. If someone's in the wrong frame of mind and all they needed was just to hear, just to have that connection with someone, even if it is for like 5 minutes, that's I think the more important thing that we do in this charity.
Yeah, it's showing to them that someone cares about them.
Yeah.
And we can't underestimate that power of conversation with somebody, of opening up our hearts and being able to just listen to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's so important.
It is. So I need to get back onto my main question of what I ask people is, if there was one thing for you to fight for, what would it be?
I've thought about this previously, and I think the best answer that I can come up with that resonates with me and is aligned with my values is I think we need to educate the world.
Mm-hmm.
We need to educate kids, especially because when you educate people, the statistics showing that education alone is what gets people out of the poverty line.
Yeah.
and potentially pushes people up through to the next tax bracket, right? Because that is, I think, is so important because it stops people falling into the sex trafficking trade. It gets people out of poverty, and more importantly, it gets people thinking in the right frame of mind. So perhaps the reason you're under the poverty line is maybe your entire life you had people telling you that you weren't good enough, or that you had to work, or you had to do all these things, or to whatever it is that you had to do that kept you at a level where you think you're not good enough for yourself, or you're not worthy of happiness, or you're not worthy of keeping a job, or whatever it is, right? And we've all got, at each different tax bracket, I think there's all these different issues. But when you're below the poverty line, there's a lot of mental health issues that are the reason why people are homeless or people can't get a job. So I think I would, if I had all the money in the world, I would implement a global education system that would help people understand that life is actually beautiful, and you can do whatever your heart desires. So yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, it's a good answer. I have a few people who answered about along the lines of education, but I think you've given it a bit of a little bit of a different twist than what other people maybe gone a little bit in depth about what they have thought about, but
Right.
not spoken about the fact that the education gives each person an opportunity to discover that they are more than what they may have thought they are.
Right. So I see a lot of times from when we talk to people on the street, it's that they've either come from a divorce, right? So like there's a lot of guys. So we see the people we encounter on the streets are usually, it's about 97% men and 3% women. And it's interesting to see that side of things, right? Because we ask them, like, what happened in your life that you ended up here? And most of the time it's because of divorce, or they don't get to see their children, or there's things happen at work that really, just they either lost their job and they couldn't find another job.
Yeah.
That makes them spiral into kind of a depression, which then they start thinking that they're not worthy, and the whole cycle comes back. So it's like seeing these people that they say it's just they made bad decision after bad decision, right? So if we have the skills to always try and make the right decision for ourselves, that's potentially can help people get out of these bad situations, I guess.
Yeah. It's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is it that sparked you to start on this social mission? Why did you do it?
So I was the story goes a little bit like this. I was living in Noosa for a while, and I was working on my business. So like I had like the business laptop lifestyle, right? Even though I realized it was uncomfortable because you've only got a small screen. But anyway, so most of the time I'd be on the beach, just working away, and I made the beach my office. And then I decided to come back to Melbourne to see my family. And of course, I decided to come back at the peak of winter. And I remember I was in my childhood room in my bed, and I had like 3 blankets on me. I had my hoodie, I had my track pants, socks, and the heater was on.
It doesn't get that cold, does it?
So coming from like 30-degree days, right? I had to reacclimatize to Melbourne weather, and I'm there, and I'm freezing. Like, and I'm not a skinny guy. Like, I have this natural built-in insulation, right? I shouldn't be this cold. So I'm in bed, and I'm covered up with the heater and everything's on, and all of a sudden, it dawns on me that there's someone that's sleeping on Collins Street on that blue concrete that has nothing. They could be in shorts. They could potentially die.
Yeah.
And I'm here with like 3 blankets, all this stuff on, and I'm still freezing. And I just couldn't shake the thought that there's someone out there that isn't as fortunate as I to have a home, to have a roof over my head, and to have blankets and clothes that no one's going to take away from me, and I'm safe.
Yeah.
So I couldn't shake it. And I think it was like 11 at night, and I just couldn't get rid of that thought. So the next day, I jumped to action and I started a GoFundMe campaign, and it just took off from there. I just asked everyone for donations. I said, let's do this. Together, one person might not be able to do much, but together we can do quite a lot.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And I think we raised like something like $3,000 in 2 weeks. There were a lot of Facebook groups that I reached out to that posted that out to their community, which helped quite a lot. And we ended up making, I think the number was 140 winter care packs. Wonderful. In 2 weeks. And we went out and handed them all out within like another 2 extra weeks, and people joined in and helped us walk the streets. And yeah, that's how it all started. Yeah. And then every year it's just taken off from there.
Fabulous. It's a bit of a beyond the why moment, isn't it? It's you don't have absolutely. A personal experience of having to sleep out in the streets of the cold, but for some reason this just came to you that this was what you had to do.
Yeah. Well, I think I realized how absolutely fortunate I am, to be mentally healthy, to have a home, to have food, to have clothes, and it was just this gut feeling, and it was like it's one of those feelings that you'll never forget. You know exactly where you were, what you were thinking, what you were wearing. That kind of moment that will always stick with me. And every winter that feeling comes back, right? And I'm like, yep, we have to do this again this year.
Yeah, it just drives you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So you said you do some fun things for fundraising. Curious about that now. What kind of things do you do?
So we have a massive party before the season starts, where people purchase their tickets to come along, and we have world champion barbecue smokers cooking up 17-hour slow cooked brisket, ribs, beef, just all this amazing food. We have the location that we do it is this really funky place. So we're essentially throwing a party, right? Throwing a party where we get to eat, we get to mingle, we get to enjoy music, like live music, and we get to speak about the things that we've seen, the things that we do, and why people should help out and volunteer with us. Yeah. So it's kind of like a fun event, just to get everyone together and enjoy amazing food and really awesome entertainment. Yeah,
it does sound like a fun way to do your fundraising. You can do anything that
it's more fun than it sounds. I promise you. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any particular stories of people that you've shared with that you'd like to share with us that can bring that really lifts your heart into what you're doing?
So I have 2 stories, if you give me the time. The first one was on the first year, and every year that we go out, there's always something that really stands out from who we met on the streets. The first year, I remember it was the last pack of the season that we had, and we turned the corner and we saw one guy just, I think he was in front of the Hungry Jack's and Flinders Street on that corner, and we were about to drive off, and then we spotted him. It was the last pack, so we went out, we gave it to him, and then he didn't really say anything. He was wearing just a t-shirt and shorts, and he had no shoes on. But we walked out. We walked back to the car after we'd given him the pack, and we looked back, and he's just completely torn the packaging of the socks. He started putting everything on, the beanie, the gloves, the scarf, and that was kind of a surreal moment to actually see that how much the stuff that we gave was needed. And that was very heartwarming, and I'll never forget that, because it's what we do in action, and that was a nice moment to see. And the second story that I have is a little heartbreaking. So if you're listening, just tune out right now for about 3 minutes if you don't want to cry. I was walking down the street with another person with the charity handing out packs, and we looked down this alleyway because what happens now is the council and the police and anyone patrolling the areas can take away all your stuff.
Yeah.
So I think there's a law that says you can only have like one sleeping bag and one blanket, right? And that's like if you've been out in Melbourne in winter, that is not enough.
No.
Right? So now we look behind down in alleyways, we look in stairwells, we look anyway because they hide away from the elements first of all, and secondary they hide away from the authorities because you don't want to accumulate all these things, right, to keep yourself warm and then have that taken away. Yep. So more times than none that they are hiding. And we're walking, I can't remember what street it was, but I looked down one of the dark alleyways, and you know in Melbourne we've got those big bins that stick out where people just dump their rubbish in.
Yep.
I looked down, and it was about halfway down the alleyway, and I see kind of like I see a white tail. So I'm like, all right, let's go check that out. So we walk down, and as I turn the corner next to the bin, I see a big tarp, and I see a beautiful, it was like one of those husky dogs, you know, those beautiful snow dogs. And it was there with its owner, and the owner was, I think she may have been 80 or maybe 90 years old.
Yep.
And as soon as I saw that, my heart just broke.
Yeah.
Right, because no one should be on the streets, especially the elderly. So we started talking to her, and I said, "Have you been down to the food van because they come scheduled, right? They have a time." And she goes, "No, I can't make it down there because the dog has hip dysplasia, and she can't walk long distances." And so it was just, and she told us like she's not in a good way, and she thought she didn't have enough time to actually, like she thought she had like a week or 2 weeks left to live. Like that were her words, and that was absolutely heartbreaking. And yeah, so we rugged her up, and we gave her a pack for her dog as well to rug up, and it was just that was absolutely heartbreaking because at that age, not having food, not having shelter, you know, the only thing to keep you warm is a dog, and the dog is, you know, in a bad way as well. So yeah, that was devastating.
Yeah, it's just sad to see these kind of situations. People definitely shouldn't be on the streets at any time of their life, but to think someone's lived their life, given their all to whatever, to family, to work, whatever they've had in their lives, and then be left in the streets.
And I always think about this. I think about if you have no family, or you have, you know, there's no kids or no one to look after you, right? It's so easy to fall under that line, it's so easy to be living on the streets. And with house prices going up and you know, everything, it's just, you know, I can definitely see how it happens. And most of the time it's not because of drugs. You know, there's the misconception that everyone on the street is on drugs, or they sell drugs, or they're a criminal. That's not the case anymore.
No, it's not. My father used to work with homeless, and I would hear all those stories about circumstances that have happened through family tragedies, through work situations that you just don't think of. You just can't imagine that people have gone through these, and it's just completely shut them off from their life that we anticipate is what we get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to fall into that trap, and once you're in that trap, it's so hard to get out, and that's the problem. Like, it's just a vicious cycle of, you know, I need to survive for today, and how do you think about the future? How do you plan for the future when, you know, you could be the worst thing that people tell us is, I completely understand.
I just lost your sound there.
Right, the chances of someone that's dangerous coming up and just either go ahead, or, you know, or taking your stuff. Oops, I think we've lost connection. Are we back?
I've lost it when you started talking about that.
All right, can you? Yep.
The sound.
I'm back. We're back.
Yep.
Was it? We're back. All right.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was just saying that that they tell us, like, the chances of being beaten up when you're sleeping, right? Like you're hiding up against the wall, and someone can just come and kick you, or take your stuff. How do you sleep? You can't. Like, sometimes we go to work and something happens at work and we can hardly sleep for like 2 days because we're, like, how are we going to resolve this issue? Imagine if your life is being threatened. There's no chance of sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an enormous situation, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I said that what you were doing would make a big difference to people. Like I said earlier, it's about people understanding that someone cares about them. Half the time is more than what they're getting every day. And we don't know, just having that someone reach out and care about them might be enough to make that shift in their lives of thinking that, well, maybe I am of value to somebody.
Yeah. So there's one gentleman, his name's Mac, and he lives on the street, and so we email back and forth, we exchange emails, and he only gets to see his emails twice a day. I think that's when he goes to the library. And he's constantly trying to find work, find accommodation, through government agencies. But it's just so hard because there are so many people doing that, right? And there's no criteria of jumping someone up to the top of the list.
No.
And so I see the struggles on that end as well, and it's kind of it's a little devastating as well, I think. To see that people are actually trying to, improve their lives, and so many hurdles. It's ridiculous.
There's a lot of things there that makes you open your eyes into a different world of living.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's good to be able to feel like you're making a difference in some way to these people.
Yeah. Well, we try, but you can only try your best.
That's right.
I
and
guess.
If we all try, then we make a difference.
That's right.
So just quickly, how do you run a business as well as this charity? How does having this charity in the background implement? How does having this charity in the background change the way that things are viewed in your business?
So it's funny that you asked that, because we've just recently hired someone, and one of the questions that I asked is, what are your social missions? Like, is there a day, or is there a day of the month that you go out and you help? So, like, help your community, and fortunately he said yes, which is really awesome, because it's nice to have people like that in the company. But I feel like everyone that I surround myself with, whether it's socially or in a business capacity, I find myself that there are more people now in my life that get involved with charities and get involved with helping the community, right?
Yep.
So the charity has helped my business tremendously because of the people that I associate myself with, or the people that my business associates with.
Yep.
And when you do that, it seems like your whole world changes, because everyone has the same end goal in mind. And that makes it so much easier to grow and to strategize. And I know that's probably an unorthodox answer, but because I don't feel like the charity, because for me they're completely two separate entities, right?
Yeah.
I don't like to involve my business with this, but we do a lot. So Gorilla Code does do a lot in the background of the winter care package, but it's not something we want to promote, because we want to give chances to other people to help out, or to do, like, if we do get sponsored, that's awesome, because that means more of the donations that come in are not going to, for example, like redundant things like hiring the hall to throw the party, right, or doing this kind of stuff. So 100% of donations go towards making the packs.
Yeah,
which is kind of nice.
Yeah, so the business.
But if there are any sponsors out there, Yeah.
The business
But
sponsors it, but we need other people to sponsor it as well.
yeah, but I do feel that that Gorilla Co has helped the winter care package in the sense of being able to create strategies and be able to streamline some of the processes in the charity. Because one of the things that we find hard to get our volunteers, like foot soldiers, sort of,
Yeah.
right, where we can deploy them out into the streets, and with a team leader and help distribute the packs. And I feel like some people just don't resonate with staying out till 3 a.m. because that's the time it gets dangerous. So we're strategizing and implementing so that we only have to be out there for, say, like 2 or 3 hours, maybe 9 to midnight, something like that. Yeah, and the processes that we have at Gorilla Co definitely have helped to implement that into the charity. So
yeah, good. So they kind of
nice little back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So have you had any advice to give someone who could see that there is something that needs to be done in the world? What would your advice be?
If I can give the advice, I guess, from the things that I've learned about creating this charity, it's that don't wait. Just implement whatever you have in your mind. It's not going to be perfect the first time round, right? But all the thoughts that you have in your mind, put them on a piece of paper or write them down somewhere and start ticking off the things that you can do.
Yep.
Because the thought of doing something means nothing if it doesn't have action, right? So take action. Even if you think it's the dumbest idea or the most stupid idea, just take some action, and I promise you it'll start to grow, and you'll end up making a bigger difference than you thought you could.
Awesome. Great advice. Take action. Don't just think it, do it.
Yeah. Right. That's the thing. Like successful people do the things that unsuccessful people won't do. Right. And that's the step. That's the taking action step, I think.
Yeah. Great comment.
And whatever success means to you, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. Right.
Yeah. Good advice. So before we finish, just give you opportunity to do a bit of a pitch if people want to help out with your charity or interested in learning more about it. What can they do?
So you guys are obviously listening to this and watching this on the socials. So if I can plug the social media for Winter Care Package, I believe it's if you look on Instagram, it's either Melbourne Winter Care Package or just Winter Care Package. And it's the same on Facebook. And if you'd like to volunteer, we have a special volunteers group where we can announce dates, times, things that need to be done. And that's called the Melbourne Winter Care Package Volunteers Group on Facebook. Okay. So look us up, give us a like, and we'd love to connect with you and get you out there with us.
Yeah,
be part of something awesome.
I'm sure there's some people out there who would love to be involved in something, because there is nothing more satisfying than getting out there and giving and helping people.
Yeah.
It might
absolutely.
Well,
so say that again, the connection just broke up.
Yeah, there is nothing more satisfying in life than giving to other people, giving your time and yourself. Yeah. And I think that is where we find our greatest sense of fulfillment in life, is in what we do for others.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very powerful stuff.
Right. I agree.
Okay. So I want to thank you very much, Nick, for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you and learning more about the winter care packages. And I am sure that they're making a big difference to people, giving them a sense of feeling that there's someone of worth and value in the world, that someone cares about them.
I hope so. I hope something. We're doing something great, but it's we couldn't have done this without all the other, all the volunteers. So I'm so grateful to everyone that's actually given their time, because that's the most valuable resource that we have, is time.
Absolutely.
And for them to have decided that we're worthy enough for them to give us that time is just really, it just melts my heart. So yeah, I appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone that's helping us with this like you're doing with this podcast. That's amazing. So thank you for having me on, and really the pleasure is all mine. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nick. And join me again next week for another episode of Social Mission Revolution. Talk to you soon. Bye. This has been the Social Mission Revolution with Andrea Putting. Join me again next week when we'll speak to another social mission revolutionist who will inspire you on your journey to making your ultimate impact on the world.